Peter Power is a crisis management consultant who helps companies prepare for emergencies. In 2003, the authorities staged a full-scale exercise. At a tube station in the City of London, preparing for a terrorist chemical attack. On 7/7, Mr. Power was running an exercise for a private client, preparing it for a terrorist attack in London. Could his exercise have been used as cover by the real perpetrators of the attacks? When he gave several interviews that day, he certainly gave that impression to some.
At 9:30 this morning, we were actually running an exercise for over a company of 1,000 people in London, based on simultaneous bombs going off precisely at the railway stations that happened this morning.
Peter Power said his exercise envisaged simultaneous bombings precisely where it happened that morning. But was this coincidence or conspiracy?
Just to get this right, you were actually working today on an exercise that envisioned virtually this scenario?
Almost precisely.
In 7/7 Ripple Effect, Muad'Dib hangs much of his conspiracy theory on Peter's exercise.
Peter Power, dupe or accomplice?
Muad'Dib claims the 4 men blamed for 7/7 were duped into playing the parts of mock terrorists in Peter's exercise. The real culprits then detonated pre-planted explosives. The men were murdered and framed for the attacks. Muad'Dib has calculated the odds there was no conspiracy his own way.
The probability of the 7/7/2005 drill and attack coinciding is 1 chance in 371559265750000.
For the first time, Peter is demonstrating.
Osiris may refer to the Atlantean deluge, by which the doctrine was swallowed up or lost, and its fragments scattered among all of the existing civilizations of that time. And the story continues. The body of Osiris, the secret doctrine, is divided into 14 parts. Remember, Osiris was chopped into 14 parts. They found all save one, the phallus or the penis of Osiris. Well, the body of Osiris represents the secret doctrine. It's divided into 14 parts and divided among the parts of the world. And the lost word of Freemasonry is the generative force, the lost part of Osiris, the lost part, the secret of the secret doctrine. So we must therefore understand that it was scattered through the 7 divine and 7 infernal spheres. The locusts and tails of India are by different symbolism to the 7 worlds which are without and the 7 worlds which are within. The Kabbalah of the Jews. Bacchus was torn into 7 pieces by the Titans and Osiris into 14 pieces. To use the words of Faber, quote, both these stories are in substance the same, for the second number is merely the reduplicate of the first. By a variation of much the same nature, the ancient mythologist added 7 Titanides and 7 Kabiri to the 7 Titans, unquote.
Meaning creativity, compassion, and holistic thought processes. This next section is what I call the lost principle. This is the 8th principle of natural law, which binds all of the other principles together. Okay? It is what I would call the encapsulating principle. Okay? It's the container inside which all the other principles fit very nicely and neatly. However, it's lost because we're not exercising it. See, we already looked at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 principles of natural law. And there they are represented by these circles overlapping each other. Okay? Can anybody see an 8th circle anywhere? You got it. Correct. Here's the 8th circle. And this might look familiar. You might have seen this somewhere. Okay? This pattern is called something. Does anybody know what this pattern is called? What is it? Not the flower of life. The seed of life. The seed of life. Okay? Now, what happens from a seed? grows. It generates something. It creates something. A seed has an outer casing, an outer shell. Okay? That if you're going to get to the inner core of it that contains all of the creative, generative material, okay, that shell has to be there and intact. You break the shell of the seed, the creative essence of the seed is going to be gone. Okay? Now, what is that principle? Here's what that principle is. It's the eighth, or what I call the lost principle. And it's the thing that has to be present in order for any change to manifest itself. And it is not what most people think of it as. Even when I tell you what this is, I guarantee you there will be an inaccurate connotative meaning for what people think this means. Okay? Here's what the eighth principle is. It is known as the generative principle, or the principle which governs creation, which actually is the causal factor that goes into effect and generates the result that we say that we want.
The Egyptian allegory tells us that the phallus of Osiris was swallowed by a fish. Now, folks, this is most significant, and we may even infer that mankind itself is the fish, but it even goes any further, for this age has been known as the age of Pisces, the fish. The significant force and the power in the age of Pisces was Christianity, and the fish actually refers to Christianity. The phallus being the symbol of the vital power of the mystery school, and so used in Egyptian hieroglyphics. The phallus then is the lost word which is not discovered, but for which a golden replica is substituted. In the Egyptian hieroglyphics, the physical body after the death of the soul or its departure therefrom is called the Khat, or K-H-A-T, and the hieroglyphic for this is a fish. Thus, the physical body of man is definitely tied up in symbolism with the creature which conceived son, Horus, a term concealing the collective body of the perfected adepts who were born again out of the womb, swallowed the triple phallus of Osiris, the threefold generative power. This golden phallus is the three-letter word of Freemasonry, concealed under the letters A-U-M. And all of those of you in the New Age movement, or all of those of you who fell for all these gurus who came over here and taught you to sit and meditate, and while you were meditating, hum this Aum, A-U-M.